My mom, 70, and daughter, 13, got in an argument. Trying to figure out how to handle this. My 48F husband, 50M, and I went away for the weekend and we had my mom, 70F, and stepdad, 69M, watch our 2 kids Justin, 15M, and Claire, 13F. My husband and I rarely go away without the kids. I was trying to count and I think this is the 4th time in 15 years. My mom seemed eager to spend time with the kids. I have great kids who are pretty normal young teens. Not perfect, by any means, but smart and kind and generally well behaved. They are active in sports and with friends. The only thing of note is Claire has been struggling with depression. Claire is sensitive and can have low self-esteem. But we've been working through it, first with therapy, now with medication. She is probably due for a medication increase. I see her depressive patterns creeping back in. My mom knows this. We've talked about it. When we got home, everything seemed fine. My mom said they had a nice weekend. We laughed about how they had to taxi the kids around to all their commitments and socializing. They mentioned they played a lot of board games. Then they left. I noticed Justin came downstairs to greet us when we arrived and said goodbye to grandparents. Claire did not. But sometimes Claire likes to nap Sunday afternoons. I checked on her later, she was sleeping. I let her sleep. A couple hours later Claire comes downstairs and I can tell she's been crying. Of course I'm concerned, and I encourage her to tell me what is bothering her. After a lot of reassuring, this is what she told me. Just before we returned home, everyone was playing a game. My mom was jumping in with advice for Claire, which Claire didn't want. She found it distracting when she was trying to concentrate and also felt like she was being babied. She told her grandma something like, "Shoo. Go away," in the heat of the game. Justin and my stepdad were like, "Whoa. That was rude." Claire immediately felt terrible, she is so sensitive, but tried to hold it together. She felt piled on for an offhand remark. She said she felt like crying and like she was going to have a panic attack, but she held it together long enough to finish the game. Then she went up to her room to cry alone. After my mom left, again, without mentioning anything to me, my mom texted Claire, "You owe me an apology." This further sent Claire into a tailspin and she cried for hours. Claire said she was awake when I checked on her, but she was too embarrassed and ashamed to talk to me about it at that time. Claire was still very upset. I consoled her the best I could and said I'm sure everything will work out. Let's work on apology you can write to Grandma. With only a little input from me she texted, "I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I admit I said the things I said, but I didn't mean them in a mean way. I was feeling pressured and kinda babied when you were giving me advice during the game." My mom almost immediately texts back, "You call that an apology?" She texts, "Talking things out is the way the game is played and your words hurt." Claire immediately starts wailing, crying so hard she can barely breathe. I reread Claire's apology. I don't really see an issue with it. She apologized for hurting Grandma's feelings in the first sentence, while also trying to give some context from her perspective. I am sure it's not perfect, but she's a 13-year-old. I'm so confused. I asked Justin what he saw. Am I missing something? Claire and Justin don't always get along, so if Claire was in the wrong I feel like Justin would be straight with me. He admits Claire sounded sassy, but seems shocked at how Grandma is playing hardball. I decide to play dumb and call my mom. I said, "Did something happen?" Claire is inconsolable and won't tell me what happened. My mom said that Claire said, something like shoo or shoo off. I don't know the teen slang, but it was very rude. When I got in the car with your stepdad I said it feels like she told me to fuck off. Am I reading it wrong? Stepdad said no, he agreed with me, so I asked for an apology from Claire. Claire sent an apology, but it wasn't a very good one. I would never treat my grandma the way she treated me. I am very hurt. So I said, "Let me see if I'm understanding this correctly." She said shoo. The word shoo, it's not teen slang, but to you it meant fuck off. But she did not say fuck off, nor would she ever tell you to fuck off. You asked for an apology, and it sounds like she gave you one, you just didn't like the way she worded it. She's been crying in her room on and off all afternoon and now she's inconsolable. I'm just trying to understand what happened. My mom said, "Well, I don't want her to cry, but I was very hurt." Sighs. I can see I can't win here. My mom sounds like she is going to start crying. I don't really know what to say at this point, so we hang up. I'm also creeped out how my mom says she can't win. Can't win? Against your own 13-year-old granddaughter? My mom calls back wanting to talk to Claire to patch things up. I am hesitant because my mom's not great at apologies. But Claire is still crying and doesn't want to talk. I asked my mom to give her time. Emotions are high. Let's all calm down and talk another time. My mom seems fine with this suggestion. But then my mom sent another text to Claire. I don't want the evening to end with us at odds, and I don't want it to interfere with our relationship. You are my precious granddaughter. Let's resolve to treat each other with respect from now on. Agreed? Love, Grandma. This text did not help. Not only is she still egging it on in the heat of the moment, it feels like she wants Claire to admit her intent was disrespect, when it wasn't. Or am I reading into it? My husband is through the roof at this point. Me, my siblings and kids are pretty conflict avoidant. My mom and my husband almost thrive on conflict at times. We are supposed to see my mom again for Mother's Day. My husband is ready to call it off. Or he says you can go with Justin, he and Claire will not be going. I wouldn't go without them, nor do I feel like going at the moment. I tell my husband let's just get everyone to calm down and see if this can get resolved. I reassure Claire her apology seemed fine to me, and that I grew up with Grandma as my mom. She can be very stubborn. But now I don't know what to do from here. I feel like my mom is way overreacting, first to an offhand remark, and secondly to the apology. Good God, you are 70. And your granddaughter is 13. The way I usually handle disagreements with my mom, between the two of us, is to back down, but pull back from her relationship-wise. I go through a phase where we're kind of low contact, then gradually our relationship will build again over months or years. I know it's not particularly healthy. But this time feels different because it's involving my kid. And I want to set a good example for my daughter. WWYD? I really need to think about this. She is used to you backing down and expects your daughter to do the same. Time to be mama bear for your daughter. Mom, she's 13. Sometimes they hurt your feelings. You know she isn't a bad kid. Please act like an adult and accept her apology. She's clearly way more hurt than you at this point because you won't let this go. Your mom seems exhausting to deal with. Your mother is on a power trip. Kind of a lot to unpack from your post, but Grandma's in the wrong. She's picking a fight with an emotional teenager. Think about that. 70 years old at odds with a 13-year-old. She's 70 and not going to change. This is a great teachable moment for you and your daughter. Talk with your daughter, reassure her that it's important to stand up for herself, and think about how you, as a team, can handle this again in the future, because it will happen again. There are always going to be grandmas in her life with this kind of behavior. Great time to learn how to deal with it. I, 27 male, am losing trust in my 25 female girlfriend because of her ex. My 27 male and 25 female girlfriend have been together for almost 2 years now. We currently live together. Since the beginning of our relationship, my girlfriend has always felt comfortable talking about her ex and her experiences with him. I didn't mind this at all when we started dating because I was getting some insight into this person that I cared about. Long story short, the ex treated her awfully and had a history of cheating on his GFS. Not sure if my girlfriend was one of those or not, but needless to say he was not necessarily a stand-up person. This is all confirmed by her friends as well, who share a disdain for him. However, my girlfriend still feels as if he can still be a good person and wants to continue being friends with him. This is fine too. It does make me a little uncomfortable, but I'm not going to control who she can and cannot talk to. Side note. Whenever my girlfriend would discuss her ex, it was almost always in a negative light. Criticizing his actions, etc. Anyway, our relationship progresses and things are going great. Every now and then the ex will pop into her life and she'll discuss it with me and I'll share my opinions. Most of the time it was him reaching out to meet up with her or go out for dinner. And to which I made it clear that I wasn't super comfortable with, as I didn't think this guy had pure intentions. But I didn't stop her at all from going. She would always end up meeting up with him and then come back and things were generally fine. Sometimes I'd be a little pouty and we might chat about it for a bit and hash it out. Well, he started reaching out a lot more frequently, asking to hang out, etc. Each time this occurred I would become a little more annoyed, I noticed. I was viewing it in this way. If my girlfriend does not think super highly of this person, then why would she want to hang out with him? She is a super friendly person, outgoing and lively. So I don't fault her at all for socializing with him, but the amount of attention that she would give him was concerning. It only seemed like things were escalating too. I brought this up to her and we had a productive conversation about setting boundaries and expectations. She made it clear to him that their relationship might be affecting her current one. Communications basically stopped for a while and I felt like we were doing good again. If it had ended there it would have been great. Well, communications kept up between them. I believe it was infrequent but I'm not sure. I'd see his name pop up occasionally if we were together but I wouldn't bring it up. Fast forward a few months and I'm now at this impasse. Over the weekend she said she was going to a party at her friend's for a mutual's birthday, invited me as well but I had plans already. I tried reaching out to her to check on her at some point and she didn't answer for a few hours, so I decided to check her location. Location not found. As in it was off. To my knowledge, my girlfriend has never done this and I can only think of one reason why she'd do this and it is to hide something, either from me or someone else who has her location. I asked her about it later that evening and she said it was probably a bug and not to worry about it. No bug like this exists like this on the current iOS. She ended up turning her location back on the next day. I don't necessarily know what to make of this and I have some sneaking suspicion that it involves her ex. Do you guys know what to make of this situation? I don't think my girlfriend is cheating, yet. But, I have lost a lot of trust in her for lying about this. Too long did not read. Girlfriend turned off her location to go to a party and I don't know if I trust her now. I personally wouldn't date someone who was still dating their cheating ex. Just not something I would want to worry about. You told her it made you uncomfortable and she still went. Emo, that means she is prioritizing her ex over you. Add this to the fact that she says he is a bad person and doesn't respect relationships. I would nope right out of that relationship. Just not worth the stress. Trust your gut. Life is too short for you to be worrying about a girlfriend hooking up with an ex. If it smells like bullshit, it's probably bullshit. I'm not one to usually throw cheating out there without at least a maybe or two. But this is one of the most obvious cases I've ever read on here. You are being played hard. Not wanting your significant other to stay connected to an ex isn't controlling. It's a boundary that is reasonable for a lot of people. And now you know why. She dating both of you. Wake up, dude. My 30 female husband, 38 male, slept in the same room with a female friend during an overseas leisure trip. We dated for 9 years on and off. Just got married 5 months back. I was playing a game on his 38 male phone and being bored I decided to scroll through his messages. He had mentioned previously casually that he wanted to go overseas with friends to unwind. So on the 22nd of March, I was having a 3D2N work program, he went overseas. I agreed to let him go overseas since he has left his previous job and will be going to another department soon. On 20th he sent me to work and 22nd he was supposed to fetch me off work at 3-4 p.m. because I will be lugging loads of stuff, which he was late and asked me to cab home myself and he only reached home like 8-9 p.m. with loads of goodies. He went overseas with a couple and a female friend. I have no idea if she is attached or single. They seem supposedly his online friends from the IRC era. So in the messages, there was a pitch dark photo of a room and the following message was, "She needs total darkness to nap," or something along those lines. So instinctively, or maybe a blind person could even see, is that he shared a room with a female. I used a very calm and soft tone, similar to a wounded animal, to ask him, "Can I have a bit of your time to clarify some stuff?" Then I showed him the messages and asked him if he wanted to explain himself. He has been sick this few days and he was sleeping, so he asked if we can talk when he wakes up because he was feeling sick, but I couldn't even grab any winks because of all this feelings thoughts in my mind. I told him, "I don't want my mind running wild, can you just try to explain yourself?" He told me nothing had happened between them. So I told him, "Go sleep, we talk when you wake up." I teared up, went out of the room to settle down my emotions. When I headed back in I asked if I can continue looking at his phone so I can just figure out some answers. The group chat with all the 3 IRC friends had shown that he had already planned this twin room since a week before his trip. He knows where she stays. The messages between him and her is deleted, not sure if freshly deleted or long ago, but there had to be messages between them, if not how he fetch her for meeting up to go overseas. My feelings. Feeling stupid that I gave so much trust and freedom that he can do all this without caring about how I feel, or if he had actually considered my feelings and realized that it wasn't a good idea but went ahead with it, which would be a zero regards of my feelings. Betrayed like some idiot. He did not respect our marriage enough to think twice. We ain't rich but definitely have enough money to get 2 separate rooms, so saving money shouldn't be the issue here. Not mentioning anything about it since the first day he started planning it until now a month later seems like he has something to hide. Those goodies he brought back seems like his way of reducing his guilt. With all this thinking and feelings in my mind, how can I deal with this situation? Why would there be a reason to share a room with a friend of the opposite gender when you're married? How can we move on from here? Did nothing really happen? Can I trust that? He's taking time to formulate the lie to hand you. The fact that the messages are deleted is all you need to know. They slept together. Don't believe a thing that comes out of his mouth. Can adult platonic friends share a room? Yes. Do they? Yes. Do they hide it from their spouses? No. The fact that your husband never mentioned the sleeping arrangements is deeply concerning. It's hard to imagine that he hid this from you, deleted the message history between them, and nothing happened. All of his behavior is screaming, "I am not to be trusted." At best he showed that he has no respect for your relationship or for you as a person because he didn't bother talking to you about it while making plans and lied to you by omission, deliberately, by not telling you about it. At worst, and the most likely possibility, he cheated on you. Either way you deserve better and would be better off divorcing him. It's highly probable he's done things like this before that you didn't find out about. It's almost guaranteed he will do something like this again if you stay. Pack either your stuff or his. He lied before, during and after to you. This was well planned out. He will absolutely do it again if you keep him. My 26M BFs, 26M friends hate me. My 26M boyfriend, 26M, of 8 months has a close group of friends, consisting of 2 girls and 1 guy, who is also gay, but supposedly not my BF's type. I had wanted to meet them, but they were always busy. So, I introduced my boyfriend to my friends instead, and they liked him. Eventually, his friends agreed to meet me, but it took a while, as they were unresponsive until I jokingly commented about it and my boyfriend put his food down to arrange something. During our meeting, they seemed immature to me, but friendly enough. My boyfriend told me they were later upset that they couldn't find any red flags to gossip about. I added them on Instagram, but only one of them accepted my request. Recently, my boyfriend went out with his friends and got drunk. The next day, he asked to postpone our date because he was hungover. He also told me that his friends forbid him from going to Japan with me because they want to go with him instead. We were only in the talking stages of trip planning. I guess they might have talked about it before at some point. This took me aback, but I didn't make a big deal out of it. I suggested Italy instead, and my boyfriend agreed. I also made a joke that I'm now banning them from Italy. I also found out that they're all going to a museum that I had been wanting to go to for months, but my boyfriend kept pushing it off when I asked. Later, my boyfriend sent me a picture of their lunch. It looked good, so when I asked him to add the restaurant to our list of places to try together, he said that he couldn't take me there because they said no boys are allowed, sisters only, they call each other sisters. Their jokes hurt my feelings, and coupled with my boyfriend prioritizing his friends over me, I feel like they're being petty towards me. My boyfriend isn't standing up for me either. The girl from the group now added me on Instagram, but the guy didn't. When my boyfriend told him, he said he was going through something, and asked my boyfriend to tell me to send him a request instead of just sending one himself. I need advice on how to proceed with the way his friends are treating me, but I'm not considering breaking up with my boyfriend because I love him and he's good in other ways. Too long did not read. His friends wouldn't meet me until boyfriend forced them to, were unhappy they couldn't find anything bad about me. They forbade my boyfriend from going to Japan with me, and now also forbade him from going to a specific restaurant with me because that's only for them. I feel like they are being very petty and am not sure what to do. Honey, it's not just the friends. None of this would be happening if your boyfriend made it clear to them that you are his beloved. They are trying to convince him to treat you as disposable and your boyfriend is letting them. Are you sure this one is for you? Aren't there a lot of other nice men out there? Maybe ones who don't play games and treat you as disposable. Forbid you from going to Japan? What does your boyfriend seem to think about this? It's kinda weird you don't get to go to Japan with him because his friends want to go with him without you. His friends seem jealous and immature. I personally would be upset if my partner didn't care if their friends treated me like that. Have you sat down with him and communicate your experiences and feelings? Move on. Do you really disrespect yourself this much? You need a new boyfriend. This guy is being controlled by his immature friends. Tell him when he grows up and is his own man to call you. You left high school 12 years ago.